I was thinking, how do we push the narrative out early as a preventative measure? So if you think back in health class, we go over smoking. Why is it dangerous? Well, if you think of smoking, you think of lung cancer as your number one go-to. And a lot of people have this, it's a natural human behavior to think, if someone starts smoking, well, I probably won't get cancer till late in age, and who cares by then? So people engage in smoking, not really thinking of the other issues that can happen. And maybe it wasn't in my class, maybe other people have been taught, but had I known ruptured aneurysm, that would have scared anyone, that hey, you can be in your 30s and have a ruptured brain aneurysm, and this is what it looks like if you choose to smoke. So I think that might deter people from smoking. Teaching healthy eating, they go over diets, to prevent hypertension, diabetes, obesity, and so forth. But they don't talk about how hypertension is a tree of so many issues. And again, ruptured aneurysm, stroke. And I don't remember them talking about that. I don't even think I remember them talking about hypertension. It was just here's your food pyramid, that's constantly changing at all times. Who can even keep up? I mean, one day it's eat this, don't eat that. I mean, drink this, don't drink that. But teaching healthy eating as in, hey, the reason why you need to eat healthy is because you don't want to end up with these diseases. And these diseases can cause this. And I kind of feel like the more graphic you get, it's a scare tactic. I probably would make a very scary teacher because I probably scare the living crap out of kids. Because I feel if you really get a good idea of what can happen, it's gonna scare you. So, the smoking one is the biggest one that bothers me because it's lung cancer is the biggest focus, and COPD and emphysema. And, everyone associates that into your elderly years. So people are well, screw it. I'm going to die around that age anyway. So, why don't you add stroke and aneurysm in there? Maybe that might deter kids from smoking. So the other thing I thought of was in yearly physicals, and I don't know if doctors are doing this or not. Now, I will tell you, well, actually, I cannot tell you. I can just say in my field, I don't see it. So, anyways, I feel with patients that come in that have hypertension or engage in risky behaviors like drug use, alcohol use, smoking, really look at the family history, since that was a big one. It's not just smoking, drinking, drug use. I mean, there's several. They're just naming those as the top ones that come, to mind that really go. But there's tons and tons, and you can go to any of the brain aneurysm websites and look at all the different things that can cause it. So I feel there needs to be more of an assessment of a risk for a stroke or a potential for aneurysm. And so if a patient comes in and, let's say they're a smoker, right? And, they've got high blood pressure. Do you put on that scale that maybe they should get a baseline CT scan and see what's going on? And then as things progress, do one later on just to see the vessels and, kind of make an assessment there. So kind of like an aneurysm scale. Not just for smoking, but like we all have to write down our family history, on sheets of paper for the physicians, and I don't really know if they look at it, but my great aunt had SAH stroke. I think that would be a factor of like, hey, my neurosurgeon, is like, for my sister is like advocating for her to go get checked out. So that's just, kind of something, but I don't know. I just feel like yearly physicals, like a risk scale, and then like, giving information out to patients more about stroke and brain aneurysms, not just like the standard hypertension, cancer, diabetes, blah, blah, all the stuff that we already know so much about. They've got to add this to there. So, and, I think stroke's on there, but I feel like it's more ischemic and not cerebral. So I just think there needs to be more awareness on that. Just put in a pamphlet and give it to the patient if you feel that they're at a high risk, or, part of their education part, like, patient information when they leave, like, hey, you're healthy. Here's some information. Blah, 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 blah. These can cause this. So, I think there needs to be more PSA, like televised awareness, or more stories out there. Emilia Clarke from Game of Thrones had exactly what I had, and she said her story. She had hers like I think 3 times, and it was actually her story that helped me make my decision on, like, I knew the rubber band snap, but like hearing her story helped me make a decision quick. So I think more like getting the word out. Also, I feel that there needs to be more migraine studies. Now, they keep saying that they're iffy about the migraine part. They don't know if there's a correlation. They said that people with migraines are at a greater risk, but they can't say that the migraine causes it. So I want more research done with the migraine part, because I am so gung-ho that I started getting migraines at 21 in the spot where the ruptured aneurysm happened. And the migraines got increasingly worse, and that's when it happened. But maybe my migraines, as they got worse, caused my blood pressure to go high, and that's what caused it. I don't know, but I think there needs to be more research on that. So that's basically what I wanted to talk about with brain aneurysms. So I focus on stroke, but I wanted to do brain aneurysms. I know I've spoken about them before, kind of mixed them together, but I just wanted this dedicated to brain aneurysms because they are very scary. And, when it's a ruptured one, you don't have a lot of time to act. And not only that, like, I think a lot of people look at, now I had a stroke too, but let's say I didn't. But, they talk about fast. And I think there needs to be another one for like a ruptured brain aneurysm. Like something easy to remember. So, but I think there needs to be just more alarming words that are said rather than, like I said, worst headache of my life. I mean, my God, we all have like awful headaches all the time. All the time. Rubber band snap, that's alarming. Projectile vomiting, alarming. Be scary with your information. Because if you are, then people aren't going to be second guessing themselves. Like, oh, could this be this or could that be not? Because that's kind of like what I deal with my hydrocephalus strain. Like, I'm always like, oh my God, is it like, did it move? Is there something wrong with it? Because I'm getting nauseated. And, I asked my neurosurgeon, how do I know the difference? And she's like, you won't. So I don't know. But there is major differences with a ruptured aneurysm versus like you're just having a bad headache. So I think there just needs to be a little more alarming information, trigger words to really get someone like, okay, I gotta act now. And also, when you get to the hospital, you say, I want a CT scan. Advocate it, yell about it, do whatever, because the first thing they're gonna do is treat you as a migraine patient or a headache patient. And a lot of people die when they're sitting there waiting as they're getting their migraine cocktails and just, observing. Time ticked. And, so be an advocate for yourself. That I cannot stress that enough. If this happens and you get to the hospital, that is the first thing that needs to come out of your mouth. And you advocate until they say, okay. And that's what I had to do. And thank God I did not give up, because that is what saved my life. So, anyways, that is topic 1. And I will go into my second topic. That's more personal. But I thought I would just give ruptured and unruptured brain aneurysms a little spotlight, since I kind of always mix it in with my stroke. So hopefully you got something out of it. Hopefully I didn't butcher anything. All this information I got from legit websites. Go to Brain Stroke Foundation, that's in the United States. You can go to NIH. The UK has a lot of resources. There's like a wealth of information out there. So I highly suggest that you look into it and, come up with a solution to really advocate for your state, of how to get the word out, because it's just something I just have never, being in the medical field for close to 20 years, like I rarely came across something that was ruptured aneurysm. And I never really heard about it except for a celebrity that passed away, and it's like, oh, they had a brain aneurysm, like, but it's like, I don't know, like, it's not impact. So that's what we need to do. We need to make more of an impact, something. So gather your thoughts. Think about what you can do. Correct me if I'm wrong. If there is other stuff, or maybe your city's doing something different. But I do feel that we need to do more of an outreach to communities that do not have access to health care and are afraid to go to the emergency room because they're afraid of a major medical bill. That in itself is sad. So I really, that crushes me to read that part, because, you know, when I was reading African Americans and Hispanics, I was like, well, is it like a genetic thing? You know, is that why? And, you know, and then when I read why, I was like, oh, you know, something that can be done to reach out to them, and it's not being done. So, anyways, that's the end of this topic, and I will start my next one. So, hopefully, you got something out of this. Reach out to me if you have any ideas, but there's a lot of great foundations out there that are really trying hard to get the word out and need donations. And I really think that we need to push the narrative, get traction, be loud, very loud. So, anyways, have a good night, guys.